These little guys. Let's have a closer look. Wow. Back at their house, Tink and Lizzie created a fairy-field guide filled with information about the world of fairies. By the time they were done, the rain was letting up. Tinkerbell and Lizzie both realized it was time for Tink to go home. As much as she was going to miss the little girl, Tink was really excited to get back to her fairy friends. There she is, but as Tinkerbell was flying away from Lizzie's house, she saw the little girl trying to show her father the fairy-field guide. Dr. Griffiths was too busy trying to fix the leaks in their home to listen to Lizzie. Tinkerbell watched Lizzie walk sadly away from her father. Tink realized she had to find a way to bring father and daughter together and make them happy again. Oh, she's sad. Lizzie thought Tink had left, but to Lizzie's surprise, Tinkerbell suddenly appeared. The look of joy on Lizzie's face let Tink know that coming back had been the right thing to do. Lizzie went to sleep and Tinkerbell watched as Dr. Griffiths came up to check on her. She is? Oh, she's all right. There just aren't enough hours in the day, he said to his daughter. It warmed Tink's heart, and she felt even stronger about finding a way to help them. Meanwhile, the other fairies were continuing their mission to find Tink on foot. Vidya spotted the muddy road that led to Lizzie's house. Let's have a close look at that picture. Can you guess what happens next? Then she got stuck in the mud herself. Silvermist, Fawn, Rosetta, and Iridessa, these are the names of the different fairies, grabbed onto her and pulled, but she wouldn't budge. She was stuck. The fairies saw a car coming at them, but Iridessa was able to save them by reflecting the light from the car. The driver got out of his car. "Hello, is someone out there?" he asked. Fawn grabbed his shoelace and instructed the others to hold on tight. When the driver turned to leave, they were pulled out of the mud. Onto his shoelace. Wow! And out she gets. Saving little fairy. Back at the house, Tinkerbell had an idea. She secretly fixed all of the leaks in the house for Dr. Griffiths. Before she returned to Lizzie's room, she couldn't help but notice the butterfly fluttering in a jar on Dr. Griffiths' desk. It made Tink feel terrible to see the poor creature trapped and helpless. Lizzie went to show her father the fairy book. When she reached her father's office, Lizzie could see that Dr. Griffiths was upset about something. "The butterfly is gone," he announced. "There is no one else in this house. There's only one logical explanation. It must have been you." "I didn't," replied Lizzie. It must have been who?" Dr. Griffiths asked. "I could tell you, Father," Lizzie declared, "but you wouldn't believe me." "Very well," Dr. Griffiths said. "Off to your room. I'm very disappointed in you." Back in Lizzie's room, though, Tinkerbell was apologizing for getting the little girl in trouble. She's helping her fly. Using magic. "I'm glad you're here," Lizzie told Tink. "You're my best friend. I wish I were a fairy just like you. Then I could fly around with the other fairies all the time." And as we can see, that gave Tinkerbell an idea. She instructed Lizzie to close her eyes and spread out her arms. Then the fairy hovered above Lizzie's head and showered it with pixie dust. Magic dust to help you fly. Oh, what's going to happen next? Downstairs, a door creaked open. "All clear," announced Iridessa. The fairies entered the kitchen. "Okay," began Vidya. "Tinkerbell is upstairs. The little girl has her in a cage. There's also a large human in the house who doesn't like creatures with wings." The fairies looked at each other in alarm. "Great," Fawn exclaimed. "Anything else?" But before Vidya could reply, the fairies had their answer. Mr. Twitches was standing in the doorway. "Watch out, fairies." Meanwhile, as they're getting chased around, Dr. Griffiths heard strange noises coming from upstairs. "What's going on in there?" Dr. Griffiths demanded. When he went to investigate, Lizzie tried to act normal, but the pixie dust hadn't worn off yet. She had to hold on to the furniture to stop herself from floating off the floor. "How did you get footprints on the ceiling?" her father continued. "Well, began Lizzie. "I was flying. My fairy showed me." And there she is. with the footprints up there. While the other fairies distracted Mr. Twitches, Vidya headed to save Tinkerbell. Vidya got there just as Tink revealed herself to Dr. Griffiths. He tried to catch Tink, but Vidya pushed her out of the way. Ring! Dr. Griffiths ran out of the house with Vidya. "I must get this to the museum right away," declared Dr. Griffiths as he dashed down the stairs. He's got a fairy in his hands, does he? Dun, dun, dun. The other fairies had tamed Mr. Twitches with some catnip that Rosetta and Fawn found. They rode on the now friendly cat. He's calmed down now. And entered Lizzie's room. Tinkerbell and Lizzie were trying to figure out how to get Dr. Griffiths to release Vidya. He had captured Vidya, the other fairy. "We can't fly," said Tink, "but I think I know somebody who can." Lizzie was nervous as the fairies bundled her up in a raincoat. "Floating around my room is one thing," she told Tinkerbell, "but flying all the way to London?" The fairies swirled around Lizzie and showered her with pixie dust. "All aboard!" cried Tinkerbell. Gonna make her fly. Tink settled under Lizzie's collar while the other fairies tucked themselves into her raincoat pockets. Lizzie had a rough start, but was soon maneuvering smoothly above the country road that led to the city. There she is, wow, flying along. A little while later, the magnificent sight of London came into view. And there it is. And there she's flying. Once they got closer, Tinkerbell flew into the car's engine and brought the car to a stop. "Father," Lizzie called. Dr. Griffiths turned to see his daughter flying towards him, pixie dust trailing behind her. Dr. Griffiths couldn't believe his eyes. "How are you doing that?" he asked. "There's no feasible scientific explanation. It has to be magic." "Oh my goodness. How are you flying?" Lizzie smiled. "It is magic," she told him. "But where does it come from?" Dr. Griffiths wondered. "Fairies," answered Lizzie, matter-of-factly. Then Lizzie told her father that they had to take the fairies back to the country. Seeing Lizzie and the other fairies, her father understood. It was time. Seconds later, Vidya was reunited with her friends. And there he is. He opened it up the little jar. Yay, everyone's together. And the last page. Days later, Tink and Vidya sat together, sipping their tea. Not only did they know each other better now, but they had actually become good friends. As they watched Lizzie and Dr. Griffiths, they could see that father and daughter were getting to know each other better too. "Beautiful sight, isn't it?" asked Vidya. "Nothing more beautiful in the whole wide world," Tink agreed. There they are, having their little tea together. Aren't they nice images? Fairies around. And that was Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy Rescue. That was a nice story. Until the next one. Alright. See ya.